Vatican City is an inspirational place. You don't need to be Catholic or even religious to appreciate the architecture, the art, and the city's historical significance. But there is a place within the Vatican that's rarely seen, hidden beneath the city. It is an underground fortress inaccessible to the public and protected by armed guards and state-of-the-art security. The secret apostolic archives, within the stone and steel reinforced walls, are vaults, climate-controlled rooms, and over 50 miles of shelves. And on those shelves are countless texts, relics, and artifacts collected by the Church for over 1,000 years. One of the most intriguing objects hidden in the archive is called the Chronovisor, a device that can view events anywhere and anytime in history. For years, its existence was just a rumor. No proof of the Chronovisor was ever found. But a book released by a Vatican priest would change all that. Let's find out why. Pellegrino Ernetti was a scientist, a world-class authority on music, and a scholar. He spoke several languages, dabbled in electronics, physics, and even the occult arts. He also happened to be a Benedictine monk. Now, whether by luck or by fate, Father Pellegrino Ernetti found himself in the company of Francois Brune, a priest from France, and they were sharing a ferry ride down the Grand Canal in Venice. The water was calm, and the trip was long, so the men struck up a conversation. They shared a love of languages, science, and history. They were discussing different interpretations of the Bible when Ernetti interrupted. "There's nothing to interpret," Ernetti said. "It's possible to see what actually happened, to see the truth with your own eyes." Brune thought Ernetti was joking or being rhetorical. He wasn't. Ernetti spoke of a device he had worked on, hidden in the deepest, most secret levels of the Vatican archive, a device that allowed its operator to witness events anywhere and anytime in the past. And it was called the Chronovisor, a time machine of sorts. You can't travel anywhere with the Chronovisor, but you can program it to show you certain events on a screen, like a television. Now, Francois Brune was stunned by the story. He knew Father Pellegrino Ernetti to be a serious man. Ernetti was well-read, well-educated, and well-respected in the Church. He was not one for exaggeration. Yet, Ernetti claimed to have heard speeches by Napoleon and Mussolini. He visited ancient Rome, and Ernetti was amazed that Cicero was as captivating a speaker as history claimed. Brune wanted to know about the events in the Bible. "Did they really happen? It's all true," Ernetti said. He had seen the final days of Jesus, including his crucifixion. He saw the creation of the 10 Commandments, the Last Supper, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, and everything in the Bible. Brune was obviously skeptical. Even though Ernetti was intelligent and talented, he didn't have the skill and knowledge needed to build this kind of device. And Ernetti agreed that he couldn't build the Chronovisor himself. He had help. In 1952, Father Pellegrino Ernetti was working on a project at the Catholic University of Milan. Being an expert in early Christian music, he was studying and restoring tape recordings of Gregorian chants. While listening to one of the tapes, the school's founder, Father Agostino Gemelli, was convinced he heard his father's voice, even though his father was dead at the time of the recording. But what Gemelli heard was not his dead father relaying some profound message to his son from beyond the grave. What he heard was more mundane, his father arguing with someone over the price of shoe wax. Gemelli thought he'd been given a gift from God. But Ernetti wondered if there was a scientific reason for this, that the sights and sounds of people in the past somehow continue to exist long after they happened, and if they did, could they be detected? Well, it does, and this technology is not that different from what we now call EVPs or electronic voice phenomena. And since Gemelli was president of the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, he was able to fund a project to explore the possibility of listening or seeing events from the past. Ernetti assembled a team of 12 scientists, but he would only reveal the names of 2. One was Enrico Fermi, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist known for Fermi's paradox and for creating the world's first nuclear reactor. The other scientist was Nazi rocket scientist turned director of NASA, Wernher von Braun. Like sound waves can be pressed into vinyl to produce a recording, Ernetti said that his team had discovered that light and sound continued to exist as forms of energy. And using a series of antennas, the Chronovisor could detect this residual electromagnetic radiation and translate it into image and sound. Operators of the chronovisor could designate a specific date and location, then the scene was reconstructed on a large cathode ray tube. Now, Francois Brune was obviously amazed by the story and asked Ernetti what happened to the device. Ernetti said that once the team realized what they had invented, they brought their discovery to the Pope. And since the chronovisor can tune into any place and time in the past, it could be used as a powerful weapon. It could reveal state secrets or be used for blackmail. So Pope Pius XII worried that in the wrong hands, the chronovisor could launch a dictatorship unlike anything the world had ever seen. The Pope ordered the machine dismantled and forbade anyone from speaking of it. Ernetti said this was the first he had spoken of it in over 10 years. And Brune understood and agreed that a machine like the chronovisor would be extremely dangerous, and it was probably best if it stayed hidden and dismantled. But Brune said to Ernetti, "It's too bad there's no proof that the chronovisor actually worked." Ernetti said to Brune, "My friend, I have proof." Quintus Ennius was a writer and poet who lived during the Roman Republic between 239 and 169 BC. He's often considered the father of Roman poetry, and during his lifetime, he wrote about 20 plays and an epic poem on the history of Rome called the Annals. But only a few fragments of his work survive. His final play, Feasts, was produced shortly before his death in 169 BC, and scholars have wondered about this play for centuries. They knew the story was based on the writing of another author, Seneca, but the actual text of Feasts, except for a few lines, has been lost to history. Ernetti used the chronovisor to visit Rome in 169 BC, where he saw a performance of the play in a Roman square. Ernetti, fluent in Latin, was able to transcribe and finally complete Ennius's play after 2,000 years. And that manuscript still exists. The story of the chronovisor remained hidden for another 12 years or so. Then, in 1972, an article appeared in the Italian magazine La Domenica del Corriere. The headline of the article was, "A machine that photographs the past has finally been invented." And some believe that the chronovisor was not dismantled but was actually functional and being used by the Church to maintain watch and control of the population. Soon, several photos were leaked, including one taken by Ernetti himself. Ernetti used the chronovisor to view Jesus's entire final day, including his crucifixion. Another photo shows Jesus walking and talking with his followers. These photos, however, were later revealed to be fake. The crucifixion photo was actually a picture of a statue by Lorenzo Valera, and the other photos were paintings by Johannes Raphael Villa and Eugene Bernand. Despite the faked photos, Father Brune insisted that the chronovisor was real. In 2002, he released a book called The New Mystery of the Vatican, which documented his relationship with Ernetti and included more details of what Ernetti saw with the chronovisor, even providing blueprints for the machine. Both Father Pellegrino Ernetti and Father Francois Brune, until their last days, believed that the chronovisor existed. However, skepticism surrounds the story. Experts have debunked many details associated with the device. Ernetti's transcription of Feasts has been questioned by scholars, and linguists find issues with the Latin used in the transcription. In 1994, an anonymous letter was published, claiming that the photos and Ernetti's writing were fake. Another alleged distant relative of Ernetti also dismissed the story as a fabrication to generate interest in the Church. The Catholic Church itself denies the existence of the chronovisor. The story of the chronovisor raises questions. Why would respected clergymen risk their reputations on such a grand lie? And why did the Church issue a decree in 1988 threatening excommunication for anyone caught using a machine like the chronovisor if it were merely a fantasy? While the story of the chronovisor has elements that can be easily debunked, it originated from credible sources. Father Pellegrino Ernetti and Father Francois Brune were highly respected within the Church. However, without concrete evidence or living witnesses, the truth remains elusive. In conclusion, I don't know if the chronovisor is real, but for the sake of our collective well-being, I sincerely hope it isn't. The power it claims to possess would be dangerous in anyone's hands, particularly in the hands of an institution like the Catholic Church. If you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to subscribe to stay connected and discover more intriguing stories and thought-provoking discussions. By subscribing, you'll ensure that you don't miss out on future content that explores fascinating topics and delves into the depths of human knowledge. Remember to click the subscribe button and join our community of curious minds. Together, we can embark on a journey of discovery and uncover the wonders of our world.